All right, number 29. Two student groups went to an amusement park on the same day. Group 1 bought 9 tickets and received a $120 discount. Group 2 bought 3 tickets and received a $30 discount. Both groups spent the same. What does same mean in math? So I'm going to make an equation with an equal sign. Group 1 is going to go over here, and Group 2 is going to go over here. Everybody should be writing what I'm writing. Here's the clue word. What is the cost of? So what is going to get the X? The tickets. The tickets get the X. So right here, Group 1 bought 9 tickets. So what's going to get the X? So 9X. Now let's talk about this. They received a $120 discount. So would you add a discount or would you subtract a discount? Subtract a discount. Group 2 bought 3 tickets, so what gets the X? 3X, and received a $30 discount. How do I write that? Minus 30. Where do I solve equations at? In y equals. So go to your calculator. Everybody should be doing this with me. For y1, we're going to put in 9x minus 120. I don't see everybody doing it. For y2, we're going to put in 3x minus 30. Now where do I go? Second trace, option 5. I want their intersection. Now I'm going to hit enter, even though I can't see it and it might not work. It didn't work. Why did it not work for me? My windows aren't set to see it. So I'm just going to go to window and I'm going to make it bigger, like negative 300, positive 300. And then negative 300, positive 300. So you're looking at your Y min, your Y max, and your X min and your X max. And then I'll try it again, and it should work. And what is X? 15. Please remember to fix your windows if they're not set right on your STAR test. Number 30. You've got a triangle, and it's dilated. Did y'all see a clue word? What's the clue word? Dilated. Let's stop and talk about dilations. Dilations make a shape bigger or smaller. All right, and then it gave us the scale factor. It says it's going to be 3/2 the size of itself. Do I need to go draw anything? No. I really don't. It says if XY represents the location, which ordered pair would be the new location? Well, what was the scale factor? 3/2. Do dilations add or dilations multiply? Multiply. So look at the answer choices and take off the ones that are not multiplication. Now, which answer choice is multiplying by the scale factor? What's my scale factor? 3/2. Therefore, you would multiply by 3/2. Remember that dilations are multipliers. All right, number 31. Looks like we're going to need our STAR chart, so have that where you can see it. Larry put $1,287 into a savings account 8 years ago. The account earned 4% simple interest. What do you think I should highlight? What kind of interest? Simple interest. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my STAR chart and find the formula for simple interest. Now, what does simple interest solve for? All right, and we wrote that. So I equals PRT. Please write it down. And we know that this formula solves for interest. So I have not read anything. I just know when I get this answer, it's going to be the interest. All right, so let's read it. Based on this information, what is the balance? Is that the same thing as interest or no? No. Balance means the total. So this formula is not going to get me my final answer. Does everybody understand that? All right, so let's go use the formula though. Which one is the P, the principal, the starting amount? Thank you. $1,287 times. What is the rate, the percent? But we have to change it to a decimal. How do we change that to a decimal? Put it over 100. So 4 over 100 is 0.04. Times, how many years did he leave this in there? That's your time, your 8. Now again, when I solve this, it's going to give me the interest, not the answer. So I got to go put this in my calculator. Did everybody get $411.84? All right, that's the interest that he made. Do y'all understand? It wants to know what will the balance be in his account. Well, let's talk about it. How much did he start with? $1,287. How much did he get in interest? So what am I going to do to know how much is in there now? So he lost the interest? Did he lose the interest or did he get the interest? Guys, you always get the interest. You always, so if I'm investing my money, I make interest. I add. Okay? So I take this, 1287, and I add 411.84. $1,698.84. And I know these lines are super faint, but just do your best to fill it out. Now, if you're confused, I want y'all to think about this. I think this was the decimal right here. I want y'all to listen and think about this. If you put money in an account and you don't touch it, when you go back, should you have that money in there? Yes. If there was less money, would you be happy if you didn't take it? No. So if you put money in an account and you don't touch it for 8 years, that money better be there when you go back, plus the interest, because you're making money by leaving it in there. Make sense? All right. Next question. Number 32. A student traveled a distance of 68 miles in 136 minutes. Which graph has a slope that represents this? Now stop and listen. All this is plotting a point. But are those numbers too big to fit on these graphs? So what did I tell y'all to do? Divide. Very good. You divide those two numbers. Y divided by X. Which one's the Y? How do you know? Go look at the X and Y axis. What is the Y axis labeled? What is the Y axis labeled? Miles. So which one of these is miles? That means it is the Y. So 68 over 136. You do not put the bigger number on top. It's the Y on top. Okay? Then go in your calculator and go to alpha Y equals and simplify that. 68 over 136, 1 over 2. Yes? That means 1 mile in 2 minutes. So which graph has 1 mile in 2 minutes? So 2 minutes, 1 mile. Do you see how people might have picked A if they did 1 minute, 2 miles, and they would have gotten it wrong. So you have to make sure you're labeling it correctly, and you're going to 2 minutes, 1 mile. So the answer was C. Number 33, I'm going to let y'all take a second to read it, and then I want you to tell me what the clue word is. What's the clue word? Very good. Varies directly. And anytime we see those words, we make in the box. All right, we got to go label, though, what we're making a box about. So let's look at it. We're talking about kilowatt hours and money. It doesn't matter which one you put on top. I'm going to put money on top and kilowatts on bottom. All right, how much money? All right, for how many kilowatts? 1079. Then it says, what was the cost? So my money is an X, I don't know it, for 908 kilowatts. How do I solve this? Cross multiply, then divide. So this times this divided by that leftover number. Did everybody get 108.96? Oh, this looks fun. Oh, it's really not bad. They just threw that picture in. They threw that picture in to confuse you. It says the map shows 5 proposed routes and distances for a new highway. But if you look at this, isn't that just numbers that need to be changed to what? Decimals. All they are numbers that need to be changed to decimals. Then they want us to place them from? And are any of them even negatives? So is this really like a 3rd grade question? Yes, once we change them to decimals. How many decimal places do we want? 2 to make it look like money. All right, so here we go. Alpha y equals 675 over 16. Oops. Enter. Now what do I hit? Math, decimal, enter. How much money? $42 in. If you round 19, if you don't 18, it's not going to change your answer unless one's super close. All right, how much money is this? $40. All right, the square root of 2111. Remember, we do not put commas in our calculator. Enter. $45 and 95 cents if I round correctly, 94 if I don't. All right, alpha y equals math decimal enter. How much money? $45.08 if I round correctly, because this 7 becomes an 8 because it's 5 or more raised to the square. If not, you could put 0.07. It's the same thing. All right, and then 10 second square root 17. You literally put it in just how you see it. $41.23. So we're looking for the lowest number. Which one is it? 40. So I can mark off A and C. After 40, which one's the next lowest number? 41, which is 10 square root 17. So the answer is B. Guys, that is a 3rd grade question once you turn them into decimals. This is 35. Here we go. Triangle FED has vertices. You don't even need to read that. Here's FED. Write an algebraic rule to describe the transformation when it's dilated. Does a dilation make something bigger or smaller? What kind of rule is a dilation rule? Adding or multiplying? Multiplying. All right. It's going to be a half its size. Select from the drop downs. Oh, well, I don't have drop downs.
And I'm curious on who.
Okay, so since this is drop downs, it's definitely going to be interesting because they already put the half in. So the rule would be 1/2 x, 1/2 y. But I'm pretty positive that that wasn't there. It might have been an x value. So let's say you wanted to dilate e to the new e. Well, for e, the x value is 6. So it would be 1/2 times 6, and then 1/2 times y, which 1/2 times 11. So just be wary of, be mindful of the fact that they could want you to use these values. If it's 1/2 times x, well, that's the first x, that's the first y. Make sense? All right, the second part says, what is the scale factor? The scale factor is it greater than 1 or less than 1? What was the scale factor?
1/2 greater or less than 1?
1/2. Is 1/2 greater than 1 or less than 1? Less. The scale factor is less than 1. So here's your question. Is the dilation a reduction or enlargement? Say it loud. Reduction. Remember that if the scale factor is less than 1, it makes a reduction. If it's greater than 1, it makes an enlargement. Next question. Which set of ordered pairs is a function? What's my clue word? Function. And then how many answers was I supposed to pick? 2 are functions. So let's talk about functions. What do we only look at? The x's. And what cannot happen? They cannot repeat. So let's look at the first one. 0, -1, -1. Can I stop?
Yes.
Is it a function?
No.
Why?
Because they have negative.
The negative ones repeat, so that one's out. The next one. 0, 1, 2, 3, 3. What's wrong? There's 2 3s. Is that a function? No. Let's look at the next one. 0, 0.
No.
Nope, they repeat it. So it has to be these last 2, but we're definitely going to go check. I have 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. Is that a function? Because no x repeated. And then the last one, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a function because no x repeated.
On the DMAC.
Number 37. Keisha sells hats for $10.50 each, and this represents hats. And scarves for $12.75 each. Where both of those have clue words next to them,
Yes.
that means they both get a variable. And they're both different, so they're both going to get a different variable. Yes? It says, write an equation that represents the total cost, y, so it's going to be y equals, of x hats. So which one do we want to call the x? I'm going to say it again, of x hats. Which one are we going to call hats? But what are we going to put next to it? X. So the hats is going to be x. And scarves, oh, what did they tell us? There are how many scarves? So do I need a variable, or am I going to just multiply by 6? So this is times 6. So I have 10.50x plus 6 scarves. But how much do scarves cost? So how much would I spend if I bought 6 of those? What would I do? Multiply it. So $12.75 times 6. That's how much I spent on scarves. And there's my equation. Okay, I'm just going to explain this one again. They both were rates. So both of them would get a variable. Yes? But they told me they wanted me to label hats X. So I did 10.50X. Then they said, hey, instead of giving you a variable for scarves, we're telling you, you bought 6 scarves. So instead of doing scarves like $12.75 times a variable, you're doing $12.75 times 6. And that's where I got this number from, because that's exactly how many I bought. I don't know how many hats I bought. Everybody good? All right, moving on, number 38. These are all the new item types, so it's definitely interesting because I printed it. So you should remember what they look like. On a coordinate grid, you have a transformation of a triangle with this rule. Now stop and look at the rule. What kind of rule is that? Yes, it transformed it, but what kind of transformation? Look at the rule. What's happening? Adding or multiplying? So what kind of rule does multiplication? Dilations. Write that down. This is a dilation rule. And we know that because it's multiplying. What happens when you dilate a shape? Gets bigger or smaller, so does it stay congruent? No. All right. Choose the correct answer from each drop-down menu. Now, of course, I can't click on it and see the drop-down, so I'm just going to say what I think was there. The corresponding side lengths of the triangle. Are the side lengths congruent or proportional? I want to hear everybody. I'm going to say it again. We're dilating a shape. We're making it bigger or smaller. Will the side lengths be congruent or proportional? Proportional, because congruent means they would be the exact same, and they're not. They got bigger or smaller. Now, what did I tell y'all about angles? Everybody look at my drawing I'm about to do. If I take a rectangle and I dilate it to make a new rectangle, can y'all see those? The sides changed, yes? But this angle is a right angle. Is this angle still a right angle? So what happened to the angles? Nothing. They stay the okay. The corresponding angles are congruent. Very good. Because if I change the angles, the whole shape would change. It wouldn't be the same shape. All right, number 39. Which transformations that would be applied would preserve congruence? What does it mean to preserve congruence? To keep it the same. All right, so we need 2 correct answers. What is the only thing that does not preserve congruence? So write that down. Dilations do not preserve congruence. Everything else does. Write that down. Dilations do not preserve congruence. Everything else does. Translations, reflections, and rotations preserve congruence. So we're looking at these rules, and we're trying to find the 2 answers that would preserve congruence. We'll look at the first one. What kind of rule is this? I can't hear y'all. Multiplication. What rule is that? Dilation. Does a dilation preserve congruence? No. What kind of rule is this? That's a translation. Do translations preserve congruence? Y'all remember translations? They're slides. Yes, so that does preserve congruence. What kind of rule is this? Multiplication, which is dilation. Does a dilation preserve congruence? No. Look at this one. A reflection. What's a reflection? A flip. So everybody look at my phone. I flipped it. Is it different?
No.
Is it the exact same? Did it preserve congruence? Yes. And the last one says a dilation. No, dilations do not preserve congruence. Number 40, we're almost done. A lifeguard recorded the daily average temperature in degrees Fahrenheit of the numbers and the number of swimmers at a pool for 29 days. Complete the statements to best describe the relationships. Choose the correct answer from the drop-down. So I'm going to try to guess what was there. As X increases, so as X is increasing, what is Y doing? So it should have said, as X increases, Y increases. This represents a positive or negative? Why positive? It's going up. This represents a positive. And then is it linear or non-linear? Why is it linear? Because it's moving in a straight line pattern. This represents a positive linear association. Number 41. The Paletti and Singh families each have 5 children. The names and ages of the children are given in the data below. Using the data from the tables, determine the mean absolute deviation. How many do I have to do? I got to do it twice. I got to do it for the Paletti family, so we're going to do this one first. Everybody's going to do it with me. Step 1, find the average. How do we average? Add them up and divide by how many are there. So take your calculator. What'd you get when you added? 35. Now we have to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 35 divided by 5 is that my answer? No, I got to do step 2, subtract to make a new list. So I take 7 and I subtract it from all of these. Do I write negatives? So what's 7 minus 14? Negative 7, but I write 7. And then I mark it out. What's 7 minus 6? 1, mark it out. 7 minus 9 is negative 2, but I write positive 2. Mark it out. 7 minus 3 is 4, and 7 minus 3 is 4. That is my new list of numbers. Step 3, average your new list. So add those up. I got 18. Am I done? Yes or no? No, I got to divide by how many are there, which is 5. And my answer is 3.6. That is for the Paletti family. Now we have to do the Singh family. You should already be doing it. I don't even see everybody using their calculators. Okay, for step 1, you added them up, you got 50, you divide by 5, you got 10. Everybody got that? Step 2, subtract to make a new list of numbers. You got 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. Then you add those up, you should have gotten 10. Yes or no? And then divide by 5 and you got 2. Any questions on mean absolute deviation? All right, last question. Mr. Jenkins deposits $1,250 into an account that earns 4.2%, 4.25% simple interest. What should I highlight? Where should I go? Star chart. I'm going to write down I equals PRT, and what does this solve for? Interest. So I write that down. I equals PRT, and this is going to solve for interest. So I got to see if that's even what it wants. What will be the balance? So is this going to give me the answer? No. All right, let's go solve. What did he start with? What's his principal? $1,250 times, what was his rate? But I got to change it to a, which is 0.0425 times, how many years? 4 years. Okay, go type that in my calculator. Now let's talk logically. Mr. Jenkins put $1,250 into his account. He doesn't touch it. 4 years later, he comes back and that's all that's in there? Does that sound right or wrong?
Wrong.
Okay, so how much money should he have total? What am I going to do? Add. I'm going to take this and add what he started with, which is $1,462.50. And I don't know where you would have put your answer, so just put it right there. Okay, make sure you have all 3 days done. And if you don't, you need to get the packets from me and do it on your own. Pass them to your right with your name on them, and I'll pick them up.